What's up, everybody? It's Friday night. It's week 4. It's ready for the alternative edge here on the Tony Cotillo Show. As always, like, subscribe. Let's go. Let's get ready for some fantasy value. Let's get ready for some best bets. Let's get ready for some diamonds in the rough. Some more Josh Olivers from last week. Hopefully, everybody hit that Josh Oliver DFS play last week. Got 3 of them for you tonight. Got a big parlay later on. We're going to talk about. I think it's like plus 1085, 4-legger, very, very easily attainable. And obviously, we're going to go over again. What's up, my man Adam? We're going to go over a lot of the odds from BetQL and see what they're looking at as their top 2 or 3 matchups, like always. So, first off the bat, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe all the time. Most importantly, if you're following on X at Tony Cotillo Show, make sure you continue to follow that. I'll be honest with you. For people that have been following me for years, I kind of get my hands in so many different things. So I finally figured that, you know what, I'm just going to try to continue to focus on one account for everything when it comes to all my work, and then my business side is always going to be my PR account. So and my media account where I help build companies and things like that. So my man Adam says, diamond in the rough. That Adam, Adam, you were right on it. Adam, you said it. As soon as I mentioned Josh Oliver, you were like, "Oh, there he goes, there he goes." One of those guys. And what did it take, Adam? It took like 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and literally the first red zone opportunity he scores. Listen, again, it doesn't always happen, but when you look at you know these slates differently and these games differently, it's not always about X's and O's. It's not always about these analytics and these highly meticulous numbers that everybody buys in. Sometimes you just got to simplify it a little bit. And that's what I like to do. I like to simplify it. So let before we get into anything, let's just go big box, talk about some key injuries. People are playing. Just saw that Brock Purdy is expected to start and play this week. So that's interesting. Still dealing with that little bit of the turf injury, right? The turf toe injury, but still expect it to start. That listen, no Jaden Daniels, so we're gonna get the Marcus Mariota show again. So that'll be interesting. How many rushes do you think Mariota will have this week? And he's also going to be without his top receiver, Terry McLaurin, right? And then you have my man Bill, who's banged up too. So there's a lot of question marks in that game. And I'll tell you what, Atlanta must be really bad right now because that line barely even moved, right? That barely even moved, even without Washington having all of its key players. So they're not expecting a huge performance from Atlanta. So I think there's some issues internally out there in Atlanta that they have to really figure out as we go forward. I really do, because it's it's something ain't right. Justin Fields practices on Friday, so he's on track to play on Monday. Okay, they had that extra day. So one thing that came out that I thought is pretty intriguing, and again, when guys have knee injuries, I say this all the time when people are preparing for the draft, just be very careful. Just be very careful. Ayuk's not even close to playing, right? So a lot of people that took flyers on him, not even close to playing. Now, Xavier Worthy is playing this week. That's a big boost for Kansas City. Big boost for Kansas City. Adam wants to know, is Wentz playing? Yes, Wentz is playing again. All right, Wentz is playing again. So that'll be interesting to see, what he could continue to do, right? I mean, he's a game manager. Don't expect him to take over games, but he gets Jordan Addison back this week, right? So Jordan Addison comes back this week. Another weapon. Oh, there we go. There we going on here. There we go. All right. See, you never know what's going to happen here. You never know what's going to happen. Every now and then you get a quick freeze up, right? You get a quick freeze up. It happens. It happens. So let's go see what those top games are over there at BetQL. Thanks for the advice. Oh, yeah, that's right. Adam, put it in. You, listen, you're welcome. Right. And again, that wasn't. that wasn't advice that was based on statistics. It was based on that feel, right? Just seeing what, how many more opportunities he's going to be able to get. So I'm glad that Keenan Allen was able to get you that win. And people joining on the Tony Cotillo show right now, if you're not a subscribe, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Know when I go live. Obviously, go live about 3 times. Know people are loving the shorts over TikTok. I'm killing it over TikTok. Make sure you go follow me on TikTok at Tony Cotillo Show. If you don't, I'm trying to be all over the place just to keep up with everybody else, man. And we'll see. Everybody says, when you going to sleep? Well, when I'm below ground, that's when I'm going to sleep. Very, very, very simple, right? Very, very, very simple. All right, let's get the again our good buddies over there at BetQL. As always, use that promo code Jigsaw. You get 15% off your any monthly subscription of 2 sports or more, but you also can get 50% off a 1 sport annual pass. And I'll show you why right now, why again I like to be partnered with BetQL. And let's bring it up. Let's see what their first top 3 games are of the week. That's always, listen, that's always where we go, right? Top games of the week. And right off the bat, this is what we're looking at. Okay, now let me change the screen for you guys. You get the full and let me take this off. So you got to do this when you I don't have any producer here, right? All right. So let's go here. So we got the model bets, right? So this is again their top 3 betting. We'll go 5-star, 4-star, right? You got the Titans, Texans, you got the Colts, Rams, Commanders, Falcons, and Bengals, Broncos. I mean, look at that line on that Bengals, Broncos. Bengals just stink right now, right? They stink, right? And again, when you bring up BetQL, best thing is you got all the odds over here. You got all the offers from BetQL. They make sure you get, if you're not signed up with a sports book, obviously you got to get there. Because again, great offers all the time. But this is what I really like about BetQL. Everything is on one page, right? So you go right here. What's the bet? You go to the bet analysis, real quick summary, right? When you pull that up, that's what you're going to quick see. It's a 5-star rating, right? Based on the spread. It's going to give you a projected winning percentage. Even gives you the first half winning percentage, right? It gives you a little taste, right? But then go over to the full analysis. That's what I like. And then we're going to bring up everything, right? We're going to bring up where's the money coming in, right? We want to see that. The sharp better report. Where's the money coming in? And then here's another great part. You want the player props? Here's the props that they're looking at. Now, they're rating them right here, what they think. Okay. Is it an over on what they think? And obviously, listen, their most favorite bet right here, CJ Stroud over rushing yards, meaning they think he's going to be out of the pocket more likely against that Titans defense that is pretty rough up front on opposing quarterbacks. So again, everything is right there. And then you got the latest news. Like here's Ellick. We'll talk about the rookie right here. The last update was Monday. That's the last time we had news. Woody Marks, right? Last Sunday, right? So depending on when the news comes about is depending on that was on Monday, right? It depends. I mean, if they're not in the news, they're not in the news, right? But everything is right there for that specific player. Okay, that specific player right there. So again, I like this game from a betting perspective. There's a couple different guys I like, and you'll see that later. So but just look at it right here, looking at some of Calvin Ridley, I'm not a big Calvin Ridley guy right now. I like Ellick a lot. I like the over 31.5 receiving yards. I think you're going to see it. I may have got it for over 30.5 at BetMGM, but we'll see. I'll show that on my parlay later, but I like Ellick a lot. I like Ellick a lot. I even got the over 3.5 receptions on Ellick at plus money. So you could get that as well. Again, this guy is really starting to establish himself. Really starting to just from a dependability factor. I think that's a big deal. I mean, listen, Houston right now, Houston again. I don't know what's going on with Houston, but one thing I will say, Ellick is going to become the hot read, okay, for Cam Ward in this game. And I think that's why he gets those extra couple touches and, maybe 5, 10 more yards, but it's definitely going to elevate him over that 31.5 or 30.5 if you did get that as well. So that's one reason why. Okay, I like that game. Now let's go. What's the other games? They're looking at the Colts and the Rams. Let's see the full analysis on the Colts and the Rams. See a lot of those, the percentage of tickets are coming in almost 80% for the Colts. So this is going to be an interesting game because eventually the Colts are going to make their match, right? And the Rams, they come off they're going home. That was a highly emotional loss that they dealt with against Philadelphia. Go Birds, fly Eagles fly, right? I'm a Philly guy. So this one's going to be interesting. And I think that's why you see right off the bat, you look at Daniel Jones is under 19 and a half completions. It's almost a five-star bet. And I get it. I don't think he's going to be passing as much in this game. I just don't. Because from Young and Verse on the ends, the edge rushes for the Rams, they're gonna listen, they're gonna cause some fits for that offense and for Daniel Jones. So I do like that right there. I am with BetQL. I also like the over 1.5 touchdowns for Daniel Jones because I still think he will be efficient. Now, looking on the other side, I think this is one of these games where you see an all onslaught of offensive capability from the Rams. I do. You saw a little bit of it in the first half last week against Philadelphia. I think we get a full game of it. I think you're going to have Puka and Devontae on full display. You got Kyron going. So that over 251 passing yards for Matt Stafford, I dig that number a lot. I do. I like that number. So we go down to Jonathan Taylor, who's been on a roll, right? Who's been on an absolute roll. A lot of unders. I'm not a huge under guy. I'm not. However, I could see that under 86 and a half rushing yards just because the Rams do a pretty good job. They really listen, they bottlenecked Saquon Barkley last week. So unless you get them to where they're constantly on the field and tired, it's going to be hard to run against them. So I see where that under 86 and a half is coming from. I can definitely see a Jonathan Taylor game where he's just barely hovering 70, 75 yards. So I do like that play right there as well. Let's go back and see the other game. They got the Commanders and the Falcons, right? Commanders and the Falcons. And like I said, the Commanders are down, some of their key bodies, man. Like they really are. So right now we're looking at obviously you see Jaden Daniels is out. We talked about that already, right? Bill is questionable. Again, I don't. We'll see. Up here you go. Today's update following the upgrade to full participation. It looks like his absence don't appear too concerning. Okay, so there you go. No concerning. So he'll be ready for that committee role. You'll get Rodriguez in the mix, Jeremy McNichols in the mix. So that's just something you may want to stay away from. However, it is Marcus Mariota. There is no Terry McLaurin, right? So now you're looking at again, a really, really, is it going to be the Zach Ertz show? Right? You gotta think about it. Is it gonna be the Debo Samuel show? So a lot of different guys are gonna be in line here. Now, if I did you see like this is surprising to me, and I think this is because they have this as a five-star about under 4.5 receptions, because I do think maybe they're gonna utilize him. You can see it right here. They think they're gonna utilize him more in the rushing attack. So we shall see how that works. Now, going over to the other side with Bijan, a lot of unders. I'm actually gonna again, I see why they think because it's under 3.5, which is average of probably about 2.5 to 3. But I'm actually going to go over on this number, to be honest with you. I mean, again, I see why they're doing it. I just have a different idea with it. And that's just, I think that the Falcons really want to get things rolling. And I think, listen, when you want to get things rolling right off the bat, start something out. I mean, you saw in game one, the first dynamic play goes to Bijan Robinson, takes it to the house in the passing game. So I expect him to get him more involved in the passing game, quick hitters in the flat, some screens, get them in space. And I think that's why I actually like the over 3.5. You'll see that on the parlay. So speaking of parlays, right? Speaking of parlays, let's get to those parlays, right? Let's get to the DFS plays first. Okay. And again, that's what you get when you sign up with BetQL. And again, make sure you use that code word Jigsaw. The link is actually in the bio, in the description, but you just go to betql.co, right? Sign up for 2 subscriptions to 2 sports for a month. You get 50% off, or sign up for the whole year for 1 sport and you'll get 50% off. And again, code word is Jigsaw. So let's bring up my favorite DFS plays this week. I say this all the time. Yeah, I like to pick out certain things of it, right? I do. I like to pick out certain things with certain people. My man, Japan checking in. What's up, Japan? So these are my three guys that I'm going to zone in on from a DFS perspective. Now, I know everybody says, Trey Tucker scored 3 touchdowns yet. He's not going to do that again. Listen, I completely get it. I understand. Hear my logic for a second. Chip Kelly coming into the league, back again, getting reacclimated, right? Getting himself his feet wet a little bit. Started off a little rusty, right? Started off a little rusty, trying to do a bunch of different things. And his tight end, his number one tight end, hurts the knee in week 1. He's hobbled a little bit. Jacoby Myers isn't happy. Ashton Genty's hitting like a rookie wall a little bit. Gino's really not the guy he thought he was going to be right now. However, last week something changed a little bit. And the reason why it changed was because they really started using Trey Tucker to really stretch the field. Think about it. If finally Chip sees something that works, I feel like he's going to stick to that well again. And Chicago's still hindered with all kinds of injuries in the secondary. There's a reason why you hear a lot of analysts calling for Geno Smith as a big-time streaming option this week because they think he can pick that defense apart. And one of those big reasons to me is going to be Trey Tucker. Now, let's go to Jacksonville. I understand that Jacksonville, I get it. Jacksonville is a mess, right? You got the coach and the quarterback at each other's jaw. They're jawing back and forth. He's brushing them off. Guys are dropping balls. Brian Thomas Jr., like, what the hell is going on? However, one guy that keeps getting involved is Parker Washington. Now, here's why I like Parker Washington. And again, you're looking at this, from a DFS perspective, this guy's 3,700. Okay? A receiver's 3,700 for a guy that is getting a lot of targets. And you have to look at it from this perspective. Right now, number one, you have Brenton Strange, right? You have Brenton Strange and Parker Washington, right? Thomas banged up a little bit, right? He's still banged up a little bit. Still not, again, he's not all the way there. He's not all the way there physically. He's not all the way there mentally. So the next guy in line for targets is probably going to be Brenton Strange. You saw that. But then the next guy's Parker Washington, because guess what? Travis Hunter, the guy that everybody thought was going to get more snaps, he's actually getting less snaps. Last week, he leaned more towards the defensive role. His offensive stat rate dropped again from 64 to 53%. Okay? And his defensive workload jumped up by 9 to 10%. That's going to continue to happen this week, which is going to give you more play from Parker Washington. So I love the Parker Washington play this week. I do. This could be that guy, Adam, again, at 3,700, where people are going to stumble across and hit some bets and win some tournaments or some GPPs over there at DraftKings or Better or Sleeper or wherever you're playing your DFS, right? The last guy that I like is this is my Josh Oliver of the week, and it's Tommy Tremble. Yes, Tommy Tremble. Why do I like Tommy Tremble from Carolina? Why? Well, number one, Jatavian Sanders is out. Okay, so that's, again, right away off the bat, I'm looking at, how can Tommy Tremble get more inserted into the offense? Well, one reason is because the other guy that he's split roles with, he's not playing. Okay, Bryce Young continues to throw the ball, right? I told you before he wouldn't throw the ball 55 times again. However, he's going to average like 25 to 30 times. That's enough for me to get the tight end involved. Okay, it really is. Chuba Hubbard has a questionable tag, right? Again, a little bit of a calf injury. Now, I don't know if I'm overly concerned, but you saw what that calf injury did to Christian McCaffrey last year. So I'm just saying, just be very, very weary of what's going on. And again, you play the Patriots. The Patriots are, what are they going to do? The Patriots are big up front. They're going to try to stop that run. Whoever you're running the ball with, that's what they're going to try to stop. Obviously, very, very simple. And they're going to stop McMillan or try to stop McMillan. It's going to leave Bryce Young. Number one, Bryce Young's going to be running for his life at times. And his safety valve, if Hubbard is hindered, is going to be Tommy Tremble. So he likes throwing to Tommy Tremble. He really does. All right. And I think he'll like it even more this week. So That's why I'm digging Tommy Tremble this week. Now, told you I'm going to try to keep this under a half hour. We're at 20 minutes right now. Got any sit questions? Let me know. Got any questions at all? Let me know. If not, we're going to roll right to the big parlay. And again, when I put the parlay up, we're going to hit one of these weeks. I'm telling you. We're already ahead with the single bets that we've been hitting. However, I want to hit one of these 3-4 leg parlays, man, because we've done it in the past. And again, if you hit a 4-leg parlay, right? At anything from like plus 1,000 to plus 3,000. Okay. You're talking at 10 to 30 to 1. It's going to set your bankroll up for the entire NFL season. Okay. So that's why we do these. Now, here's what I'm looking at: 4-leggers. Now, you mentioned it. I told you about my man Ellick, and that number at DraftKings was over 31.5. Well, I found it at BetMGM at over 30.5 at minus 110. Really, really value number. I already talked about why I like Ellick. Okay. Already talked about why I like him in this game. Okay. So you can just rewind and figure it out. But the rookie's getting it. He's getting more comfortable. He's becoming the number one target, in my opinion, of Cam Ward. If they give Cam Ward just a little bit of time, man, just a little bit more time, and this guy becomes less of a hot route and a possession guy as more of a get and go guy, look out. Ellick is going to take over. So shout out to my other son, not AJ, okay, from Blades and Fades, okay, or Fades and Blades, but we got or Blades and Fades. I get it all confused, right? I'm talking so damn fast. But my other son, Chris, who's a couple years older, that said to me 2 weeks ago, Dad, you want to hear my sleeper guy this year, who I'm really starting to like? And my man Ellick. I'm like, really? So I was like, okay, I could dig it. So I start looking into it, start seeing something, and boom. I'll tell you, so I give a shout out to him for putting the spotlight on for him. Now, we're going to add in Bijan Robinson, over 3.5 catches. Why? Again, rewind this show back about 10 minutes because I specifically talked about that the way they want to start off hot. This is a struggling offense. What's the best way to do it? Get it in the hand of your playmakers. That's London. That's Bijan. However, I think what worked in the first 10 minutes of the game in week 1 was Bijan Robinson on the outside taking it to the house from Michael Penix. So I look for that to happen more than like. I think this is a 5 to 7 catch game easily for Bijan Robinson. And then I'm going to touch that Philadelphia Tampa game, and I'm going to touch it on the Tampa side. Now, if you watch the rewind for me on Tuesday, right here, and make sure you like and subscribe, Tony Cotillo Show. This is the Alternative Edge, part of the Tony Cotillo Show, powered by our good friends over there at BetQL. Go to betql.co. Use that code word Jigsaw for 15% off. Now, the reason why I say that is because Rachaad White is a guy I mentioned as a really sneaky play. There's no Mike Evans. Okay? There's no Mike Evans. Chris Godwin comes back. He's never going to be 100% right now. No way. You're probably looking at 80 to 85%. Okay. And I'm not going to elevate Sterling Shepard, okay, up to that extent. So yeah, you have you have Ubuka, right? Ubuka is going to be covered by probably Q. So the other guys are going to be roaming a little bit. But remember, who's going to pick up the slack for Mike Evans, right? I think it's going to be Rachaad White. I think he's going to get involved in the passing game a little more this week. I really do. And again, the reason why I like this is, you saw the Eagles offense in the second half really start to ball out. And I know everybody's making a spectacle of the heat and the humidity and all that. Yo, is that my man Joe? What's up, brother? How you doing, man? So I will say this. The way I look at this game is I look at the Eagles continuing to be hot on the offensive side of the ball. And in order to slow them down, Tampa will have to slow the pace of the game down, right? Keep the defense on the field. You hear Tampa talking about all the time, oh, we got to get them. They're going to be hot. They're going to be humid. They're not going to be used to it. So how do you keep a defense on the field? You run more simplified game plan. You run the ball. You do little outs to your running backs. And I think that's why Rachaad White gets more involved in this game. That over rushing and receiving at over 23.5 is such a low number to me. I had to bet it. I had to bet it. So we throw that into the parlay. And then we're going to end up with the Rook. Okay. We're going to end up with the Rook and Tyler Warren out there in Indianapolis against the Rams. We talked about this. We talked about Daniel Jones with the under 19 and a half completions. However, that he still is going to be looking early and hot. And who's going to be the early and hot guy? It's going to be my man, Tyler Warren. So I like the over 49 and a half. Again, he's averaging like 60 to 65. So again, I really, really like it. My man Joe, exactly. Time management, keep the defense on the field, getting those first downs. And people forget, even though it's the Bucky Irving show, they still like Rashad White. Rashad White still gets involved. He's a very good blocker in pass coverage. Okay. I mean, in the screen game. And even as a dual threat, right? He's a very good blocker when you're talking about going that hot route or going maybe that play action. He's really good to trust, and they love him out in the flat, right? So he's a guy that's going to get some rock, man. So over 23 and a half. And you saw what Kyron Williams was doing against the Eagles. You can run on this team. You can run on this team. So I will say that. So that's where I'm at. And again, that's plus 1086. Now, again, if I put that in tonight. Now there was obviously there was no bonuses yet. Those bonuses usually come out tomorrow, but I want to get it in. It is what it is. We'll put another couple parlays. I'll put the bonus on. They usually have that 50% parlay pack, but right now I want to get it in. So that's my ticket plus 1086. You're looking at almost 11-1 right there. Bet the single bets, but this is a very attainable shot, man. Like I said, we're gonna hit one of these. We've been rolling 3 or 4, 2 or 4. We're getting single bets, so we're coming out ahead anyway. But I want to build this bankroll and get one of these locked in again. So there's your bets, your 4 bets. Make sure you hop into Discord as well. I will be throwing some out there on Saturday, possibly early Sunday, some anytime touchdowns that I like. Again, I told you guys before, I don't want to live on social media. That's just not my thing. I understand that everybody has to have a presence and this and that, but I would love to just talk to everybody on YouTube, on the show. My whole entire goal is to continue to keep this going. As always, again, you have to understand that there's a lot going on, right? But I'm trying my best to continue to be consistent with this at least 2-3 times a week. So, and again, as always, I want to give a shout out to our great friends and partners over there at BetQL who picked this show up in the off season. Say, yeah, we want you to get rolling with this right off the bat in week 1. We're gonna support you what you need, give you the access to everything that we have, and also obviously use that code word Jigsaw to get you 15%. I will have the DFS miles coming, working on some technicalities in the background. We'll get there, but let me bring that up before we go. These are my 3 DFS plays. Again, all about value to me. Okay, all about value. And I want to end on one thing. And everybody that listens to me knows I always have gripes and rants and things of that nature, but I really want to say something. I understand that the betting world is flooded with different personalities and different people. And some of them are fantastic. I just, I just tell everybody, like, yeah, it's great. Everybody wants to hit tickets, everybody wants to hit winning bets. But when you're putting week in and week out, like it's like, hey, I'm going anytime touchdown, Kenneth Walker. I'm going anytime touchdown, Bucky Irving. Okay, great. Like to me, if that hits, who cares? And everybody's like, what? I'm like, I'm being serious because that's an easy play to me, right? It's an easy play because even if you don't hit it, you could put Bucky Irving anytime touchdown 8 times a year. Eventually, he's going to score, right? So I like bringing up these different plays that nobody's really looking at. That really tries to get you that maximum value. It's no disrespect to the people that are doing that, but I just don't think you should be getting overly excited for hitting an anytime touchdown bet for Bucky Irving, a guy that's going to score 8 to 10 touchdowns anyway. Like the odds are he's going to get one. Right? Like you could do it 3 weeks in a row. Odds are for 3 weeks in a row, he's not going to not score. So one of them weeks, you're going to be flashing Bucky Irving anytime touchdown. Woohoo. Like, okay. I mean, great. But like, let's get different, man. Let's get a little different. Let's put some work in and let's get a little different. Let's look at things differently. Okay. I want to be dancing for guys like Josh Oliver. I want to be dancing for somebody like Jahan Dotson, right? That's what I want to be dancing for because that's a real hit, right? That's a real diamond in the rough, right? Those aren't expected to hit. That's why we like Josh Oliver was 8-1, actually 9-1, 9-1. We hit on last week, 9-1. That's called yo. Let's go dance. Let's go party. Let's get a little jigsaw crazy. That's about. My man Japan checking it says Japan jigsaw money best in the game. No, Sia and John's the best in the game, bro. My man Sia is the best in the game. Okay, I got to give that. So best hair in the game, best acumen in the game, best bets in the game. Like, give me Sia all day long. Make sure you go follow Sia at Sia and John on X. I will tell you, man, and Japan will tell you he does a lot of great things over there. CBS Sports Line on the edge. I mean, the dude is a just remarkable human being, a fantastic person, and one hell of a knowledgeable personality when it comes to sports betting, man. He really is. And again, he's a very down to earth person. Yes, Sia is the man 100%. Sia is the man 100%. He is, man. I'll be honest with you. I tell everybody that all the time. Like, who knew? Right? Here's a guy who just on his own pops in and he sends inspirational things. He's a really cool guy. He's another guy. Like I like people that honestly want other people to win. I do because that's what I'm all like. I like to see other people win. There's nothing wrong with that. There's space for every. I've always said that. And you know what? Guess what? That's probably why I'm not on a radio station right now because I'm not stabbing somebody in the back. Right? It's being honest. Like because I'm not beating somebody up verbally, or I'm not going behind the back or kissing somebody's ass. I I don't do that. Right? So unfortunately, maybe that's why some of these people get ahead. I don't know. I'd rather be the good person. I just want everybody to win, man. Like, let's all win. Let's all have fun. Let's all make some money, right? Let's all hit some tickets. Let's put some books out of business by hitting, man. That's what it's all about. Like, one guy's just not going to continue to hit, right? It's about having a group, man. It's about having a group, which I really, really like. Yes. Gives yeah. So like I try, Japan. You know that. I try. I do. And Japan knows that, man. Like I don't hide shit. I don't sugarcoat nothing, man. This is who I am. Whether you hear me on Sirius, whether you see me on YouTube, whether you hop in me at Discord, whether you meet me at a show, or you see me at a bar, like this is who I am. I'm probably wearing the same sweatshirt, the same hat. Again, that's just who I am. So everybody, it's Friday night. Okay, get those bets in. Let's get ready for week 4. Let's cash some tickets. Let's get this parlay, man. Again, let's get this parlay. I have a really good feeling about this one. I do. I had a good feeling about the other ones, obviously, but this one I have a really good feeling about. A really good feeling about. As always, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. Make sure you like and subscribe at Tony Cotillo Show, all social formats. This is the Alternative Edge, fancy and betting value brought to you by BetQL. Everybody have a fantastic evening, and we'll catch you back here next time.